GAOOOOO! Wrong show. Wrong show. Gotta love it. Every time I turn on my camera, it says, "Oh, we're not recording the audio." And you're recording the audio just fine. So, like I said when I was closing off my last video, everything from here on out is going to be brand new to me. As in, first time watches. So, I might be a bit schizo or inconsistent with story things, like not quite getting things right or in order, because obviously I know things better the more I watch them. So from here on out, if I make any mistakes on story or anything, just work with me here a little bit. But this story isn't particularly complex, especially compared to like Time Force or Space. So hopefully this review will go pretty smoothly. So, this was the first season I didn't watch when it aired. Mostly because once Time Force finished, they started showing previews for the next season. Because that was always something that I enjoyed about when we're getting near the end of a Power Ranger season. I can't wait to see how the season starts or ends, and I can't wait to see the previews for the next season to see what we're going to be in for next. But after two space seasons, a rescue squadron, and time-traveling heroes, when I saw animals, like a lion and an eagle and everything, it seemed a bit disappointing compared to some of the themes we had just gone through. So I initially skipped it because I didn't care. And then after a while, it just kind of disappeared. Mostly because Fox Kids had turned into Foxbox, and I didn't even know where Wild Force ran off to. So once we got the Foxbox, I thought Power Rangers was dead. Like, seriously. Not until like 3 years later when I saw my brother watching SPD. I was like, wait a minute, it's still going? So I initially didn't even know Wild Force ended for the longest time. And I didn't know what Forever Red was for the longest time either. But going into the season, I had a lot of my friends, Frankie and Ronald specifically, tell me that Wild Force is a decent season and deserves more love than what it gets for its crossover and tribute episodes, aka Forever Red, which a lot of people seem to be, that's the only things people talk about from Wild Force. But initially, I had no idea what to expect from this season because I have seen people praise it as one of the best and loathe it as one of the worst in the franchise. There's usually a consistent theme among what people think of seasons, like when it comes to Space, Time Force, RPM, SPD. It's usually pretty good praise. And then you got like Turbo, Ninja Storm, Mystic Force, Jungle Fury, Overdrive. Well, I wouldn't say Jungle Fury because nobody talks about Jungle Fury. But those other seasons, they're usually pretty low on the food chain. This one, it's either here or here. I'm like higher, low, very top or very bottom. Really weird. It's the only season where I see very polarizing opinions. So this season and Jungle Fear were the two I went into not knowing what to expect. This one because there's no consistent opinions, and Jungle Fury because it's the lost season, and I'll get over that when I hit Jungle Fury. So enough with my background on this season already. Let's get into this. We start off in the jungle witnessing Tarzan swinging through trees. This is Cole Evans, the Red Ranger. Apparently, he's a jungle man with living in a group of jungle people. Why are there people living in the forest exactly? They never explain that, do they? But he's given a picture of his family in this red marble thing and says, it's time for you to go out into the world and find your family. We find a yellow, white, black, and blue ranger fighting this monster called an org. They're surprised when they find out that there's two out at once, which is apparently something that's never happened before. We also get introduced to the two henchmen of the season, Ginger Axe and Toxica. who are weird, interesting villains at the same time. Cole runs into the 4 other Rangers, and they get introduced to Alyssa, Danny, Max, and Taylor, who Taylor punches him in the stomach and tells him he's been recruited because Shayla, who is the princess of the flying island called Animaria. Okay, I'm gonna jump into Super Mega Force here real quick. Animaria. People are complaining that it's called the Animarium, but I've always called it Animaria. I always assumed that the Animarium was the little temple place they were a part of, and Animaria was the entire thing. So, yeah, Gosei mispronounced it, but I think he got the name right. So I'm going to call it Animaria. Deal with it. The Animarium is the little temple area where they hang out. The Animaria is the entire Turtle Island thing, so shut up and deal with it. Princess Shayla tells him that you've been recruited because you have a little marble thing, which is like a jewel, a wild jewel thing. And on the Animaria, we see wild Zords running free. It's kind of like a big playground for these wild Zords. And the lion recruits him and kind of like, okay, yeah, I like you. So they go and fight one of the orgs, and they turn into the Wild Force Rangers. I like these suits though. The helmets are actually pretty sweet. Now real contrasting colors, not like the Galaxy suits where it's kind of like full on one color here and everything, but it's got like a gold sash, animal logo here. I do like the claws that they have at the end of the fingers, though it doesn't make any sense why Black Bison has the claws. Because last time I checked, bisons don't have claws. I mean, for Yellow Eagle, they can be like Talions, and for Blue Shark, they can be like shark teeth. But for a bison, what the heck is a bison doing with claws? Consistency's sake, I know, but it doesn't make any sense either. They summon the Wild Zords once the thing grows by putting their orbs into their crystal daggers, and they call for them as they descend from Animaria and blast the thing to pieces. Interesting way of summoning them too. It's kind of like a little tiny dragon dagger. They stick the thing and it plays like a little song, a little tune when they come down. It's not bad actually. There's also a really catchy song whenever they descend and turn into the Wild Force Megazord. I don't know what the song is, and I can't find it on YouTube anywhere. Just like the Zeo Megazord combination song. I can't find that on YouTube anywhere either. If you can find it somewhere, please link me, because I like that song a lot. It's the Wild Force Megazord combination song. It's very naturistic and heroic sounding at the same time, and I kind of like it. So, from here, for a while, it's mostly just them trying to find new Wild Zords. They find like a giraffe, a bear, all this interesting stuff. Nothing really happens for the Rangers for a while, but we do get some things on the villains. Apparently, the orgs are creatures of pollution. Going off of the whole thing that Shayla talked about with Animaria's history of it being like the perfect shining utopia type thing, and it was ruined when the orgs rose from the sludge and they had a big war, and once they destroyed Master Org, they sent Shayla and the Wild Zords into the sky on an island and all this stuff. So apparently the orgs are pollution monsters, which begs the question of where's RoboKnight? He showed up when pollution monsters appeared in Wild Force, in Mega Force. So where was he here? Was it specific pollution monsters or something? I don't know. Where's RoboKnight? Where art thou, RoboKnight? Ah, I forgot Troy hadn't started his love letter to you yet. Oh boy. That's for another video though. So Gindrax and Toxica go back to the Nexus, which is the Org's hideout, and they run into Master Org, who apparently has been revived from being destroyed. But Toxica and Gindrax think that there's something off about him, and they don't quite know what it is. So we go around for a while, stuff happens, and then we get to the Zanaku arc. There's an org that was sealed away, a Duke org, which is like the one-horned orgs, like Gindrax and Toxic, which is like the highest ranking orgs. And he was sealed away in the war 3,000 years ago, and they go to awaken him. Gindrax and Toxica free him, and he takes some of the wild crystals and freezes them, basically killing the Wild Zord. And thus we go on a second half of Digimon Frontier fiasco from here on out. Rangers find Zanaku, pledge to get one of their Wild Zords back, gets their butts handed to them, lose more Wild Zords. Seriously, it reminded me so much of the Royal Knight arc in Digimon Frontier that it hurt to watch. Sadly, because this is actually one of the better story arcs in Wild Force, believe it or not. But we do get some... why am I yawning all of a sudden? Every time I get on camera, my body is like, here, do stupid crap. It's just like every time I get up and talk in front of a class. Here, let's clog your throat with a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't there 20 minutes ago. We learned that Shayla did have like a protector that gave her the necklace, and Zanaku kidnapped her because he knew of the necklace, which kind of put two and two together once Animus, who was kind of like the god of the Wild Zords or something. I say god because in Gao Ranger he was called Gao God. So Animus is kind of like the overseer of all the Wild Zords and everything involving the Wild Force powers and everything. He said Animus only talked to the 6 warriors, which in all of her tellings of the story beforehand, she only mentioned 5. Why she said 6 this time is... Shayla's got problems. I'll go over that later. And my brain's going dead on me again. Yes. Round 2 of me versus brain. So, they put 2 and 2 together, and this guy is Merrick. Well, no, they don't put 2 and 2 together. They put 2 and 2 together on something else. Animus contacts Shayla when she's sleeping one day and says, oh, this is Merrick, the guy that was protecting you. He basically found this Mask of the Wolf once I fell to Master Org and used it to destroy Master Org, but then the thing took him over because it's cursed, and the other Guardians had to seal him away to basically via Merrick's request. He wanted to be put away so he didn't hurt anybody. The Rangers corner Zanaku, and Animus puts a eclipse on, covering the moon and weakening the mask, revealing Merrick again. He explains he did it the same explanation I just gave, and he tells him how to free himself from Zanaku, but then the moon comes back up and he turns back into Zanaku. Shayla somehow says that destroying the Predazord, which is his Megazord, would free Merrick. Doesn't necessarily make that much sense to me because it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and there's nothing hinting at that Zanaku's power control over Merrick comes from the Predazord. If anything, destroying Zanaku would free the Predazord because he basically mind controlled the wolf, hammerhead, and alligator. Kind of like it's kind of backwards. You destroy the things that are being mind controlled to kill the source. Kind of the other way. It's supposed to be the other way around. It's like killing one of the subordinate vampires to kill the queen. So they do that with an armadillo and freeze Merrick. The 3 animal crystals that he had scatter, and he bumps into Toxica and Jindrax and says, I want to see Master Org. He tries to jump Master Org and gets tossed aside, but after some fights and Merrick trying to prove himself to his animal Zords again, the Red Lion yells for him, gives the Zords back to Merrick. He gets his own morpher and turns into the Lunar Wolf Ranger. Probably my favorite suit of the Wild Force Rangers. I love this suit. I don't know what it is about it. With his cool weapon of Pull Q. Pa! Where he uses his animal crystals as pool balls. Definitely a unique way of killing things. I thought it was really stupid at first, but the uniqueness grew on me. I actually came to like how he worked. Favorite suit, favorite weapon, favorite way of killing things. Shame Merrick sucks as a character outside of the Zanaku arc. The Zanaku arc in its entirety is I mean, I like the concept of it being a fallen warrior taken over by something he used as like a last resort type thing. To put in context, if you've seen Kyoryu, Kyoryu Gold had the same idea, but it was a little more contained, per se. But like I said, this is probably the best arc in Wild Force, which is good or bad depending on how you look at it, because like I said, it reminded me so much of the Royal Knight arc from Digimon Frontier. And if you've never seen Digimon Frontier, then you won't know what I'm talking about. But to put it in context, every episode they get beat up and they lose something that they were trying to protect or find or something. And it gets really old really quickly. It felt like a less awesome Green with Evil arc. Green with Evil arc being the Green Ranger arc from Mighty Morphin Season 1. It felt like a lot less awesome version of that. I mean, I do like the idea behind Zanaku. I do like the idea of Merrick being controlled. I just don't like how it played out, and how it ended was kind of disappointing too, with kind of them getting a random 2 Zords out of the way, anticlimactic battle, getting kicked in the face with a armadillo, and then he kind of loses his Zords for some reason, gets them back. I mean, it was satisfying to see him finally turn into the Lunar Wolf after, god dang, after all of this nonsense that happened, but the actual arc itself was hit and miss for me. That was a good way for me to put it, actually. I was trying to think of a fancy way to word it, but no, hit and miss is the best way I can describe it. But we got worse. Trust me, we got worse. So after that, Merrick kind of goes to like a random restaurant thing out in the middle of nowhere, and just kind of becomes kind of like a stay-in, working there and getting paid, as getting housing and everything from this guy. We also learned that Merrick and Shayla were lovers at one point, and the necklace was a gift from Merrick to her. But when Shayla comes down and tries to like re-spark their little fling, he says, "Well, we can't be together. We have different roles in the world." Well, then why was it a thing in the past? I, I, I. So we then learn that Master Org isn't necessarily an org, and that Cole's parents aren't really alive. This whole time, Cole's really been looking for his parents. Alyssa takes the picture that he had, that he was given at the beginning of the season, and goes to a library to try to find any like references or records of them. She finds a newspaper article with the picture in it, and it says that they were killed in an expedition trying to find Animaria. This sucks, especially for the whole reason that Cole left his original home was to find them. They go to their graves, and it shows Cole's there also, which is odd. But he sees his parents' graves, and he is torn down. Going over to the orgs again, the whole time Gendrax and Toxica were kind of uneasy about Master Org, especially when Toxica saw him move his horn, which is kind of not supposed to happen. They confront him, and Toxica says something along the lines of, "Every time we get near you, I sense a human." So she blasts him, knocks his helmet off, and yeah, he's human. Master Org manages to like mind control them again or something after he just like does like a little blast and it turns them into like mind controlled minions or something. They manage to break out of it a little bit later anyway. Suddenly Taylor's speeding down the road and gets pulled over by Eric. I missed you, Eric. So apparently there are these monsters running around that Wes and Eric associate as mutants. The Wild Force Rangers show up and claim that they're orgs. Okay. So Wes contacts Trip in the future and says that there were creatures that got out, but he doesn't know how they ended up in the year 2002, and that Jen was sent on an assignment to search for them, but has kind of been missing for a week. They go back to Animaria with the Wild Force Rangers, and Trip contacts them again, saying that there's these things called mute orgs, which are like weird hybrids of orgs and mutants. Trip says he might know somebody that'll help. Katie and Lucas go find Dira and tells them that they need help, and they go free Rancic. They go confront the mute orgs, and they get their butts handed to them when Jen comes out of nowhere wearing tight leather battle gear and with machine guns and jumps off the cliff and starts blasting them. It's actually kind of cool. All of them go back to the Animaria when Trip tells them that Circuit, thank you. Circuit tells them that the other Wild Force Rangers are on their way back in time. They meet up with the other Rangers as they come back to the year 2002 with Nadira and Rancic. Rancic tells his story to the other Wild Force Rangers and the Time Force Rangers on Animaria that when he was bumbling around, he ran into these three statues of orgs. He said that the orgs would give him power if they freed him. So he offered. The orgs went inside his body and absorbed some of his mutant DNA, becoming mute orgs, while giving him his powers. And by his powers, his ability to pull the weapons out of his body and all this stuff. So it was I scratch my back, you scratch yours. I'm not changing what I just said because that was pretty funny. Okay, now you scratch yours and we'll be even. Actually, that felt good. Actually, yeah, I have an itch back there. I just accidentally found. Weird. So, Rancic says, I want to make up for all the crap I did by trying to stop these guys. Jen agrees that they can't fix what happened in the past, but they can change the future pretty well. And Jen frees him of his handcuffs. Master Org leads them to a factory, and they try to use the pollution there to overflow everything. The Rangers confront them, and they go all over the factory, blasting things, blowing things up, killing all these guys. Rancic, Nadira, Wes, and Cole run into the three orgs as mute orgs. They start to unleash their powers. Rancic tackles them to the ground and blows up again. What's up with Rancic tackling people and blowing up? He did this once in Time Force. He's doing it here in Wild Force too. But he said he managed to drain the mutant half of them out, weakening them some. So they're now orgs, and they run out, bump into Merrick, and the other Rangers catch up with them. Awesome morphing sequence and roll call. And they proceed to mop the floor with them. Really excellent fight scenes, and I mean, for to the 10th power level, good. Reinforcements from the future is, in my opinion, the best team up in the franchise, which is good because it's awesome, but at the same time it bugs me because Wild Force is involved in it. Nothing necessarily against Wild Force, I just kind of wish, like, of course, I wish the best team up was between two of my favorite seasons, preferably Lightspeed and Time Force. Your terrible team up, two of my favorite seasons, and you have a crappy team up that was jammed in the one episode. But even still, this one was a really, really good story arc. A two-parter that continued the Time Force story, fully developing Rancic and Jen, developing Eric, Taylor, Cole, and Wes. Yeah, it developed characters from a past season, which is pretty dang awesome. I don't even think To the 10th Power did that, necessarily. Not to this extent, though. Rancic fully redeemed himself. Nadira and Lucas are dating. Wes and Jen got closer. Wes, it's cool to see that Wes and Eric have really grown into true police warriors and everything. Eric's and Taylor are kind of getting soft and cozy with each other. Nah. But it was weird seeing the two tough military brats kind of comforting in around each other. And it was weird seeing Eric actually get, you know, smile at somebody. Really creepy. But it was a fantastic storyline that explained some things in Time Force, continued the story from Time Force, developed Time Force characters, plus developed the Wild Force Rangers a little bit also. Really satisfactory ending. Can't say enough about this one. It's my favorite team up in Power Rangers. So good. So good. So after this, Master Org decides to take the fight to the Rangers themselves. When I forgot to mention back when Alyssa did stuff with Cole's picture and all this stuff to find the backstory of his parents, there was another guy there. His name was Professor Adler, who's kind of like an assistant with them. They find him, basically like police or something find him and take him to a hospital. Alyssa and Cole and the other Rangers go to the hospital to try to get some answers at him about how to his parents. They go there, everybody but Cole, that is, goes there, and they get leached. Dr. Adler being Master Org and taking them hostage. Cole hunts him down, and we learn the backstory behind Master Org and Cole's parents. Basically, they were all three of them were like a duo, a trio, a duo. All three of them were a duo. I'm on a roll today, guys. They were a trio looking to prove that Animaria was real. Dr. Adler slowly fell in love with Cole's mother, but his dad beat Adler to the punch of asking his mom out to marry him. I'm getting my terms messed up today. So Dr. Adler slowly became an obsessive, jealous douchebag, getting mad at his dad for taking his wife, taking the girl away, taking the spotlight away. And then when they went on an expedition to try to find Animaria, they ran into some leftover gooey seed things of the original Master Org. Dr. Adler said he would destroy them, but instead he ate them, kind of fusing himself with Master Org's DNA, killing Cole's parents. That doesn't necessarily explain why Cole survived, but because he did kill them in the little shack that they had set up. So Cole was there. But the bigger question is, why did they take Cole with them? Why take a baby on a dangerous hike to some place you may not even know exists? Seems kind of weird to me and very dangerous, but I don't know. So Cole and Master Org get into a really, really good fight scene. Probably outside of Forever Red and Reinforcements of the Future, this is the high point of Wild Force. This fight between Master Org and Cole is actually really awesome. He goes Battleizer and reflects a blast back at Master Org. Yes, there's a Battleizer here. I didn't mention it because I don't care. Although the Wild Force, it's called the Animary Armor, actually is one of the more contained Battleizer designs. Just like a chest plate with some gauntlets and some little things on the boots and some eagle wings. I like it. It's really simple, the most simple Battleizer design, and I like it for it. But he uses the Battleizer to absorb a blast and shoots it back at him, killing the Org half of him apparently. And Master Org says, "Why don't you finish me? Because I'm not going to stoop to your level. After all this time you've been poisoned by revenge, I'm not going to stoop to your level," and walks away. Adler crawls out into the desert I'm assuming he's trying to get back to the Nexus. And bumps into Gindrax and Toxica, who has their new master. I don't remember his name, so I'm going to call him Mouseface, because he's got a bunch of mouths everywhere. They kick him off the cliff, and he lands, assuming that he's dead. But when he's laying there, a horn grows on his head, foreshadowing what's about to happen. So, Mouthface is stupid. Simple as that. He's an idiot. Now we get to the most idiotic thing ever. The Animus arc. So remember when I said back in the Zanaku thing where Animus was kind of like the god of the Wild Force powers and whatnot? Well, apparently he got reincarnated as a little kid and started complaining about, oh, humans are letting the planet get polluted and ozone layer and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And he's kind of an annoying little dick. He gets convinced by the orgs that the humans are the reason for all this pollution, not the orgs, and then he kind of gains his memory back about him being Animus and turns into Animus and like, you orgs are bad, but you humans aren't helping the case any either with all your cities and crap, so I'm taking the Wild Zords because screw you guys, and disappears because you all are idiots. Let me just say I hate this story arc, by the way. I really do. Merrick gets asked by Animus to come to this new world that he's making, and he's like, Aunt Merrick's like, nope. These are my friends. These are my teammates. I'm gonna help them whether you like it or not. I just wish Merrick punched him in the nuts on top of all. I know he's a kid, but still he's an idiot god. I'm talking about. I'm not promoting people to punch kids in the nuts, but I'm talking about Animus is a douche. Why they make him a kid exactly? Was he done like this in Gal Ranger too? Was he like a little brat? Or was this even a thing in Gal Ranger? Well, the thing about Wild Force and Gal Ranger, from what I've heard, being almost exactly the same freaking show, I'm assuming so, but why make him a kid? I mean, are they trying to pull a Turbo or a Die Ranger here by adding more kids in the thing? Trying to... I don't know. But after a while, Animus is like, oh, it was a test of your loyalty to the job, even though, what, the 30-some-odd episodes beforehand weren't enough to prove to you that they were dedicated to this whole thing. And then he gives him a bike. Cole a bike. I'm testing all 5 of you. You all passed. My gift to you is something only the Red Ranger can use. Brilliant. Brilliant. God, I hate this arc. Remember when I said in Lost Galaxy that the Lost Galaxy arc was really pointless and stupid? This is really pointless. This is more pointless and even more stupid. This is just a very, very annoying environmental message with a douchebag god taking things away from people that were obviously dedicated to their jobs. What was the point of the story arc exactly? It didn't advance any characters. It didn't change anything in the plot. It was just, let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes of nothing. Nothing was accomplished. No changes, no development, no death of anything, no introduction of new Zords, nothing. Nothing. Nothing happened here. Now, maybe if they showed some of the Rangers kind of being lazy with their jobs at the beginning of the season, and they had shoved the story arc earlier in the season, and then it could have been like a test for these guys to stop being lazy douchebags, and then it develops them into being true warriors of the planet, I would have bought it. But there was no reason for this to be here. It didn't develop anything. It didn't change anything. It didn't add anything. It didn't get rid of anything. It just added a useless bicycle that we only see get used like once. Whatever. I hate this. Probably the most stupid and retarded, idiotic story arc in Power Rangers. I'm just going to say it right now. I hate it. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. Literally. Suddenly, Carter Grayson. Bow to Carter, or he will wipe you from existence. So apparently, on the moon, some remnants of the Machine Empire have found Serpentera and are digging it up, which doesn't make any sense because last time I checked, Serpentera was still with Master Vile. Zed and Rita never brought it back with them to the moon during Zeo. And Andros is spying on them. Andros apparently makes a call to a juice bar where Bulk and Skull are located, which is kind of cool to see Bulk and Skull back together again, and calls Tommy about it. Carter recruits Cole and takes him to Masada where he meets up with Wes, Eric, TJ, and Andros. Tommy shows up and tells him about their mission. New megaship after the one from after the first one being destroyed in Lost Galaxy by Trakina. And they get all introduced and explain that there's something on the moon the Machine Empire needs to get taken care of and everything. Jason shows up also at the end after Tommy thought he wasn't going to show up. And they used the megaship to get to the moon. Andros saying that he contacted Leo and Orico and explained the situation that Serpentera was left on the moon, which, like I said, doesn't make any sense because he wasn't. And that some of the leftover generals of the Machine Empire are trying to dig it up. They all come to the conclusion that they need to destroy Serpentera or stop the Machine Empire because we all know how strong Serpentera is. So they get to the moon, and the Rangers just start clobbering the cogs very impressively. Cole chases some of the generals outside and gets rescued by Leo and Orico. Enter the most amazing morphing sequence ever of Jason, Tommy, TJ, Andros, Leo, Carter, Wes, Eric, Cole, and Orico. Orico didn't necessarily morph, but whatever. All turning into their Red Rangers. And this is epic. Forever Red is the 10th anniversary episode of Power Rangers, and it's a great one at that. Seeing all of the Red Rangers from the Saban era season, including Quantum Ranger, but I have a reason for why he's here. To give Orico a partner. Just deal with it. But seeing all of them team up is actually really, really awesome. And I mean, I know while Forever Red brings up a lot of continuity problems, I think those have been established and talked about a lot already. But it's just awesome seeing all of these Rangers come back and team up like this. Seeing Carter and Andros team up, which is awesome because those are two of my favorite Red Rangers ever. shooting and blasting things up, seeing TJ and Leo cut crap, seeing Wes and Tommy blow something up, seeing Cole and Jason, seeing Jason call Cole a rookie and a noob, and all this stuff is really awesome. And Orko and Eric taking care of business and everything. It's just a really fun episode with the fight scenes and seeing all of these Rangers standing on one battlefield and everything. And Jason and Cole can't quite kill the last general. His name is Vengex, by the way. No association with the RPM one, which a lot of people are trying to find a connection between the two. Stop. I don't want RPM associated with Wild Force or Zeo or anything. Please stop. Please. The fact that people are trying this is annoying me. This is just a name similarity. Stop. He hijacks Serpentera and takes it off. The thing looks terrible, by the way. It's a little derpy CGI thing. And with the idea of all the old Megazords coming back together and teaming up to destroy Serpentera thing was thrown out because Disney didn't want to supply money to the show. They went to Bandai and asked them for money to finish the episode, and they would only do it if they promoted the Wild Force Rider, which is the bike that Animus gave them in the last episode. They did this by having the stupid bike kill Serpentera, and it kind of screwed the ending up a little bit. Because think about that. Having the Dino Megazord all the way through the Wild Force Megazord team up. Lightspeed Megazord, Astro Megazord, Galaxy Megazord, Time Megazord, Q-Rex, Zeo Megazord, Turbo Megazord, maybe the Shogun Megazord or Ninja Megazord, depending on whichever one they gave to Orko. All team up versus Serpentera. Just think about that for a little bit. The epicness. I can see it. But it never happened because Disney didn't want to give them money for another team up. So we had that little fiasco, and it was kind of dumb. But that's the only misstep this episode had. But all in all, Forever Red, even though I don't consider it the best team up, do you even want to consider it a team up or do you want to consider it an anniversary season? I don't necessarily consider it a team up because it's an anniversary season. But if you want me to consider it a team up, I don't really consider it the best. I think To the 10th Power and Reinforcements for the Future are better. But I would watch this one over just because it's fun to see all of the Red Rangers I grew up with on one stage, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I love this episode. I go back and watch it all the time. It's a great episode. So after this, Mouthface creates a ninja guy to try to get a plan to kidnap Shayla. They have a few failed attempts, and eventually Toxica gets on Animaria, and somehow Shayla fights her off. I don't know. But she manages to kidnap Shayla and brings her back. I know I'm skipping a lot of details here, but I want to get right to the point. Had her horn cut off, the whole horn cut off thing, making it to where you can survive the water and Animaria and all this stuff. I know that's a thing, but I don't want to go over it necessarily. But they attack Mouthface while trying to get Shayla back, and they use Toxica as a shield, and she dies. Gindrax is stunned by this and takes Shayla and runs away. The ninja guy then says, I haven't been serving you, Mouthface. I've been serving Master Org over here, who's back and has an actual horn. Org destroys Mouthface. The Rangers destroy Ninja Man. I don't care about these names anymore. And takes Shayla hostage. Gindrax goes and shops at a fish store with his Org credit card, because I wanted to address that. He literally had an Org credit card. It was like Org Master or something. Had a photo ID and everything on it. This is MMPR Zeo level stupid. It was funny to see this come out of nowhere, but at the same time, what? But they get Toxica back and they decide to help the Rangers off because they don't like what the orgs are doing. The Rangers kill the last of the generals, and Master Org starts a ceremony, turning himself into dust and releasing the Org Heart. Toxica and Gendrax get Shayla out of there, and they presume Master Org dead. They throw a party, and then Master Org shows up, and he looks terrible because he has mouths all over his body. What's up with these mouths? Everywhere mouths. But he manages to kill Animus, destroy all of the Wild Zords, and sends Animaria falling back to planet Earth. He does all of this in the span of one episode. All right. So now it's raining over, I don't remember the name of the city. And the Rangers charge right at him without any powers. Do, I think, the only unmorphed roll call on Power Rangers. And it's actually kind of awesome. Master Org's like, yeah, whatever, punks. And all the animal wild orbs come out of nowhere, even the ones they haven't found. Apparently there's like 100 of them, and blast Master Org, blowing him up. And they use this wild sword to savage slash the Org heart in half and blows it up, killing Master Org once and for all. Shayla takes the crap, the jackets, the Zords, the phones, and takes Animaria back into the sky, going to sleep until they're needed again. And apparently she's still asleep because she wasn't there when the Super Mega Rangers went up there to try to find the Red Lion. And then we see that Cole's like a veterinarian. Danny and Max went around the world. Taylor went back to the Air Force. Merrick's roaming the planet, and Alyssa became a teacher. And then Wild Force ends right there. Not necessarily the best finale in the Saban era, seeing how like 3 of the 4 seasons beforehand had much better finales. It wasn't too bad, especially compared to some of the Disney ones, because that's one thing I'll talk about when I get done with the Disney era seasons, is that Disney did not know how to do finales very well. But even still, it was okay. But all in all, Wild Force is a mixed bag for me. It's not bad. It's just nothing really awesome happens awesomely. As stupid as that sounds. The best arc here is the Zenaku arc. And that's only because it's the most interesting thing that happens. It's actually kind of gripping. It's just painful to watch at times because I go back to the whole Frontier, Royal Knight Frontier thing again. The Animus arc is stupid. The villains get interesting near the end. Aside from Cole, the Rangers don't really mean anything. Shayla's a terrible mentor. The ending isn't anything special. And a lot of people complain that Wild Force has more to offer than Forever Red and Reinforcements from the Future. I kind of disagree with that because those are the best episodes of Wild Force, so the 2 team-up episodes, or the team-up episode and the Trip Anniversary episode. Aside from that, Wild Force is really bare bones and kind of a drag. A lot of things overstay their welcome. A lot of things need to happen and don't. At least it gives us an explanation of what happened 3,000 years ago on like Lost Galaxy did. Cole is the main character of the show through and through. A lot of people get onto Mystic Force about being a red-centric season. Wild Force is much, much more red-centric than Mystic Force is. And to an extent, I don't even think Mystic Force is that red-centric to begin with, but I'll get to that in a couple videos. Cole is the main character through and through. The whole story is about him, his parents, his connection to Master Org, all the stuff. He develops the most, turning into a warrior that didn't want to fight the orgs because he thought they had hearts, but once he tried to listen to the heart of one of them, didn't hear anything, then he became a warrior. And then he became determined on trying to save the planet and find out who his parents were. There we go. And then tried to get some payback on Master Org for killing his parents. He develops in a what am I fighting for type manner, slowly becoming accustomed to the world around him, but that's about it. He's a noble warrior fighting for the greater good. He knows where he has his heart in the right place. He doesn't do anything really stupid per se, but he's the only character that gets any real focus. Taylor is another missed opportunity character. Being a military background, she has the toughness of, a military brat, and she kind of comes off as the leader for the most part, being the hard-headed one that drags everyone around, but they don't do anything with her backstory. Like I said, she was a part of the Air Force, and she landed on Animaria after her crystal went off when she found the Eagle. And then that's it. We never have anything build off of that or anything, or have her change or develop from her having to hide from the Air Force or anything like this. And this is another problem I have with Wild Force. Outside of Cole, the other Rangers are just there. Especially Danny, but I'll get to Danny in a little bit. Alyssa is the soft, kind-hearted, kind of motherly figure of the team. She has some things with her dad where her dad had a tiger style, fighting style, that was in like her family genes, and she broke the family train to go to college. Why isn't she a part of Casey's class? I don't know. I'm guessing there are two tiger fighting styles, one in Jungle Fury and one here. But it's a nice episode to develop her relationship with her father, but that's about it. Max, one was a bowler who was gonna go professional, and then left because they didn't really give him a good reason to join the Rangers. But that's all we get from Max. He's the youngest one there. He's a bit hot-headed, kind of a doofus at times, really childish and everything. Then we have Danny, literally Mr. Irrelevant. I swear I have never seen a character in Power Rangers as useless as this guy is. After watching every season of Power Rangers, this guy is the most useless Ranger in Power Rangers history. Wanna know how useless he is? There are several episodes where the only thing he says is Wild Access, Wild Zords Descend, and Never Give Up, which was him and Max's motto. He never even had a background episode. Alyssa, Taylor, and Max had background episodes explaining what they did before they became Rangers and kind of how they got brought into the Ranger thing. Danny never had that. He's just there. Literally, we don't even get any decent characterization. All we know is that he's Max's best friend. That's it. No characterization, no backstory, no development. Several episodes where his only speaking lines are the unison things with the team. Who is this guy? Why is he here? Why is he a Ranger? What's his purpose? Only thing we got out of him is his name. I don't even know what kind of person he is. I mean, I know who the other characters are via personality-wise, but we don't know who this guy is personality-wise. He's just here. This guy annoys me. Literally, Mr. Irrelevant. God. He's just... I have never meant the phrase, he is just here, more than I am right now. Because there was no reason for this guy being here. There's no reason for who he is, why he's here, or anything. He's there. And it bugs me. Merrick is, outside of the Zanaku arc, a really boring Sixth Ranger. He doesn't do anything outside of the Zanaku arc instead of kind of going between being a team player and a lone wolf. That's it. His personality is very vague. He's like a warrior who's kind of lost. And I think he wants to stay that way. But at the same time, he doesn't. I Gindrax and Toxic are really interesting villains because their whole thing instead of is trying to find orgs to send out, but also trying to find out what's going on with Master Org. They established early that they didn't think that there's something right with him, and then they make it their job to try to find out what his deal is. And when they find out, they go against him, and then they end up dying. Well, Toxic does, and then you see their friendship strengthen and turn against them, and then ultimately team up with the Rangers to free Shayla and go off into the world. They're interesting villains. I'm gonna say this right now. They're better executed than Rito and Goldar. That's the best way I can put it. Master Org is interesting. A dude that's just evil because he got jealous, and then all of a sudden he wants to kill everything. I guess he's just mad at everything now. That everything that he worked for and fought for was taken away from him. That he just decided, they screw this planet, I'm gonna take it over, type thing. And the fact that he did becoming a real org at the end was kind of creepy, but ultimately they killed him. So the Wild Force Rangers are the first group of Rangers to kill a human. Yeah, Guardians of the Earth Reunited, we kill people. Good job. So, final thoughts on Wild Force. Like I said, a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. I'm indifferent towards it. There are some things I like. I like the idea behind the Zenaku arc. I like the idea behind Master Org. I like her backstory. I like the idea that they came from different worlds. I just wish they had established on the characters more. This season was Cole and Friends, literally. Taylor had potential to be a good character. I want to know who Danny is, but we don't know. I want to know more about Max. I want to know more about Alyssa. Merrick had the potential of being a really interesting character. They just did nothing with him. Shayla was a terrible mentor, just kind of being like the Princess Peach. She tells him what to do and then gets kidnapped and then knows how to fight in one episode, and that's it. The villains are interesting. Master Org is different. Not necessarily one of the best villains, but he's different. All of his awesomeness comes from Cole, his connection to Cole. Gindrax and Toxic are interesting villains. Decent finale. But with the Animus arc being completely pointless and stupid, and the Zenaku arc kind of being a pain to watch at times, even though it was the best arc in Wild Force, my thoughts on the season are just eh. It's eh. It's not good or bad. It's just eh. Things I like and things I don't like. I don't hate or love this season. It's just there. Would I watch it again? Not really. But I would watch it over other seasons, that's for sure. So, I'm indifferent towards Wild Force. People love it, people hate it, I'm indifferent towards it. Outside of reinforcement from the future and Forever Red, Wild Force, in my opinion, is kind of just there. It's okay. That's it. It's okay. And with that, we're done with the Saban era. It's all Disney from here on out until we get to Samurai. And next, we'll be meeting the Rangers of the Wind Ninja Academy. A season that's kind of don't hear many good things about either. What did I think of Ninja Storm and Disney's first attempt at Power Rangers? That's for you to find out next time. So, we'll be meeting with the Ninja Storm Wind Rangers and the Thunder Rangers and Lothor. Oh God, Lothor.